Gloves Off, Tough Talk Sports Podcast with Christopher R. and Danny, talking tough on sports, martial arts, and anything in between. Danny, World Martial Arts Hall of Famer, NFL expert, and New York Football Giants fanatic. Christopher R., businessman, promoter, retired flag football athlete, and boxing aficionado. Sit down and throw down. Gloves Off, Tough Talk with Christopher R. and Danny. Gloves Off, Tough Talk Sports Podcast, presented by the See You at 6 Network.
Hello again. Thank you for joining us at the See You at 6 Network podcast segment, Gloves Off Tough Talk with Danielle Orsino. Today we're going to cover a couple of things, a wrap-up of the games, get Danny's input on it, and go back and forth a little bit on what she thinks and what she is going to guess is going to happen tomorrow. Take it away, Danielle.
First of all, I have to, I guess I owe the Texans, and, well, the Texans I was right on. The Titans, I owe a little bit of an apology
You
to.
sure do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I called that pretty darn quickly.
Yeah.
And I owe my dog an apology because
Is that Carlos?
Carlos was correct. My Yorkie was correct.
Carlos is a Yorkie?
Carlos is a 9-pound Yorkie with quite an opinion on football.
Okay.
Because him and I had a bet. He said the Titans would beat the Ravens, and Carlos was correct. So I tipped my hat off to Carlos because the Titans absolutely ran forward and backward over the Ravens.
What a game.
It was incredible. I was dead wrong, or as I should say, Derrick Henry wrong, because Derrick Henry ran for 195 yards all over the Ravens. It looked to me like Lamar Jackson showed up, and he showed up with the Pee Wee League because he was the only one out there trying to do anything.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for him. I really did, but I think at the end of the day, they're going to be just fine. I mean, Jackson threw for 365 passing yards on 59 attempts, and he had over 143 rushing yards, and that was just Lamar. So I think next season he's going to be absolutely fine, but the Titans trounced them 28-12.
Did anybody really think the Ravens were going to lose that game? I mean,
No.
they were favored
Well,
all the
apparently
way.
Carlos
I mean,
did,
yeah,
but
because-
he was the only one because I had the Ravens winning. So I don't know what happened, but I think I knew it was all over when Derrick Henry actually threw for a score, and at that point it was all over. Tannehill looked really good. Their pass rush looked great.
Yeah.
The offense was just on fire. So go team. All I can say is, are the Titans for real? Yeah, we'll see tomorrow. I don't know. You know, I'm really not sure if they can keep up that pace. Mahomes is on fire. His game against the Texans, that was a big thing for me because at one point they showed a split screen of Lamar and what he looked like on the sidelines when he was losing versus Mahomes. And that was a big difference if you saw it, because when Mahomes was down, and he was down in the first quarter, 24-zip, he looked like he was just gathering himself. Like, okay, I'm going to get my team together. I know what I got to do. No problem. We got this. Lamar looked like I have to do it all. And that was the difference. Lamar thought it's all on me.
You mean all that running he did?
Yeah, all that running he tried to do. But Mahomes looked like, I'm just going to gather myself and tell my teammates what we have to do. It didn't look like it was all on him.
Yeah.
He looked like he really had a team around him.
He played good football.
And they came in, and
It showed.
Wonder Watson was done. I mean, once Mahomes woke up, finished.
Yeah.
It was just, he just pounded.
Yeah.
And then he trounced him 51-31.
Yeah.
J.J.
game,
Watt
yeah.
was like J.J. Ware. I mean, where did he go? It was done. So we'll see when this whole thing adds up, which quarterback really stands. 49ers and Vikings, what do you want me to say? We're going to now find out if Garoppolo's for real. Do I think he is?
These younger guys are impressive.
They're impressive, but with Garoppolo, it was more about the defense, the pass rush.
Yeah.
definitely. We'll see what he can really do. I mean, really, it came down to the running game again. Can Garoppolo pull it off? It's going to be a wait and see. I can't say I was all that impressed with the Vikings, but
Yeah.
let's not even get into the pass interference call that got the Vikings there. We're just going to skip that whole thing, Saints fans. I feel your pain. I got
Yeah,
it.
we don't want to get Danielle going on pass
Let's not get into
interference
pass
calls. That was
interference. We're
the
going to pull out
last
the
episode.
stats, and it's
You
just
can
it's not
watch
going to
the
be good
last
for any of us.
episode.
So let's just skip it. We all know the Vikings really shouldn't have been there. It's a whole thing.
Probably
but
a
anyway,
lot of yelling at her house during the game.
all right, so long story short, 49ers won, Vikings lost. Now we're going to see what the 49ers can really do against the Packs because the Packers won. Okay? They went against the Seahawks. Marshawn Lynch. Really, what came down to it was the after show for Marshawn Lynch because we actually got this whole soliloquy on light from Marshawn Lynch with the press conference, which to me was just gold because I've never heard that man speak that long.
Yeah.
But it was like this whole thing about keeping your body right, get your chicken. I don't know, but totally worth it. So you know what? If that's what I got out of it, I'm good with it.
What does Carlos think?
Carlos's predictions are as follows. He believes it's going to be the Titans and the 49ers. Carlos, we shall see. Him and I do not agree on
Titans
this.
and 49ers.
I agree on the
Interesting.
49ers. I believe that it's going to be KC. But you know what? I'm going to have to owe him dinner if he wins. And at that point, we're all just bringing Carlos on and we're taking bets.
Wow.
Because this dog is just, I don't know, he just gets it. So he might know more than we.
It's going to be an interesting end to the season.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's talk about the coaching carousel.
Yes.
Define first for our viewers coaching carousel.
Because on Black Monday, as we call it, which is when everybody gets fired right after the regular season, we then have that coaching carousel where it goes round and round, just like a merry-go-round of who's going to go where. Who's been fired, where are they going next, what's going on. We had some mid-season firings with the Panthers, which I felt Ron Rivera deserved a little bit better than that. Jay Gruden from the Redskins got fired quickly. Don't think he deserved better than that. But, you know, everybody wound up where they needed to.
Even Jason Garrett?
Jason Garrett. Okay, here's the deal with Garrett. Oh, Chris Garrett.
Let me back up. Hold on.
Yeah,
I just have to
let's-
say,
You know,
as she bleeds blue, I learned a lot about how the Cowboys and the Giants are just don't gel with you. I mean, you
yes, but now they
really
have to
take your
gel.
time. Now they have to. I mean,
Because Jason Garrett just got hired as the offensive coordinator for the Giants.
I'm wearing the Odell shirt because I have to look the part of what Danielle loves about her bleeding
We'll get
blue
into
Giants.
Odell in a second.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Oh,
will.
we will.
Okay.
But yeah, Jason
Is
Garrett.
Jason Garrett a good pickup?
I think he will be. You know what? Is he the most out of the box? Is he going to give you the Sean McVay or the Shanahan look? No. But from a strategic standpoint, he is a seasoned head coach. And for Joe Judge, who is now the new head coach of the New York Giants, he came from the Patriots. I'm not going to hold that against him. That's okay. See, I'm
Well,
smiling.
he brings a
I'm
lot
smiling.
to the table if he came from the Patriots.
Let's not get into that.
I mean,
let's
let's-
not get. He was the special. All right, he was a special teams coordinator. That's still good. That's still good. I'm still smiling. Okay, he was. Or I'm sorry, the wide receivers coach, and you know he did a lot. He did a lot. Okay, he was under the Belichick. I'm still trying to find the silver lining in all this, but. He did come highly recommended from Belichick, who did once come from the Giants. So I'm going to, 6 degrees of separation, Kevin Bacon. Belichick was once a Giant, so, looking for the positive here.
Okay.
He came highly recommended. They love him. I did listen to his press conference. He says a lot of great things. He's looking to get back to old school smash mouth football. We'll see what happens.
Hold on, back up a second. I got to
Yeah.
stop you here. You mean
Okay.
to tell me your Giants, our Giants, now have a Patriot
In their
and
midst?
a Cowboy?
Look, I'm trying to stay
Well,
positive
the
here.
Patriots have done so good since then that I'm just saying whatever they added, and now the Giants
Salt
are getting.
wound pour.
And listen, I think it's going to be a great season.
I'm
We're going to get all
I'm
the
staying
tricks. We're going to know
positive.
everything that's going on the other teams.
Well,
you
that's
don't
how
even
I'm
have to take
looking.
pictures on the sideline because we have it now.
Oh, Chris, that didn't even come
Did I
from
say
me
that
on
out
that
loud?
one.
I
That
thought
was you.
I thought we were at intermission. That was my fault.
I think it's a good pickup. Yes, I think he can help Joe Judge at the end of the day. Yes, and he did develop. Look at it like this: Jason Garrett was in the top 10 offense for like 4 times.
Okay.
So really, that's good. He developed Dak. He helped develop Ezekiel. And when you think about it, we have a rookie quarterback. Saquon will be going into his 3rd year. I mean, these are all good things. So Garrett could be a good pickup. And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Why did they cut him? In your opinion?
Because Jerry Jones is Satan's lapdog. No, because he wasn't winning. I mean, at the end of the day, he still never made it to the big game. Jones feels that he has like the greatest team ever. And he wasn't getting the job done. I think he wanted new blood. And Mike McCarthy is an amazing pickup.
Okay.
He's an amazing pickup for the Cowboys. How McCarthy's going to gel with Jones, jury's out on that.
Why would
I'd
that
like
be a
to
problem? Is it because of the teams they came from?
No, I think it's more because of Jerry Jones and how involved he wants to be. I don't know how that's going to really go with Mike McCarthy. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I want to see.
That's fair.
The Washington Redskins picked up Ron Rivera. That's who I really wanted. But because I think Ron Rivera is a classy guy. I think everything that he did in Carolina was just, I mean, from Cam, from the development of everybody, John Stewart, everything he did, and he also has history with Gettleman. I thought it would have been a really great pairing.
Why is he not there anymore?
I'm not really sure. I don't feel that, the new owner of the Panthers is from Wall Street. He's not from the NFL world. I think he's looking to shake it up. And I think he just kind of wants to go in a different direction. But I think Ron Rivera is a very classy guy. I think he's a great coach. I would have loved if we had picked him up. But the Redskins saw that opportunity and scooped him up before you could even say, conference.
What made him go to that team? Is it a money thing?
I think he claims he wanted a challenge. I'm not really sure, to be honest, because, Snyder and everything that's going on in Washington, I don't know if it's a great fit, but that's where he went. I would have loved it, but we didn't get him. The Cleveland Browns got rid of Kitchens. Not a bad move. And they got rid of John Dorsey, their GM, and they picked up Kevin Stefanski from the Vikings. I told you it wasn't going to be Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, you said that.
So, Vikings.
Do I dare ask about Odell? Is he staying? I mean, you said something about the doghouse and the barn or whatever it was.
He was building a doghouse.
A barn doghouse or something?
Well, considering his latest little drama, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't figure that one out.
I don't know. I mean.
We sure they were $100 bills and not dollar bills?
No, they were hundreds. He was making it rain there. I really don't know what the Browns are going to do.
I thought you loved him. He made me wear his jersey.
I like Odell. I'm not going to
You like him because of the one-handed catch.
Oh, that one-handed catch is beautiful, man. That was a beautiful catch. Can we say it's the Madden curse? I don't know. I still like Odell. I don't know what the Browns are going to do with him, though. I really don't. I mean, now could be the time to trade him only because you have a new regime coming in. They're getting a new GM. He's in trouble. Now, to clarify, let's just get back to Odell for 1 second.
Okay.
He did not spank a cop. It was a security guard. I am not saying that's okay. So do not write in and say that I'm promoting violence against any. I'm not. But it just wasn't a cop. It was a security guard. Not saying that's right. Not justifying anything.
And what happened? What did the security guard do at that point?
He filed battery charges against him. People, patting somebody on that's not battery. Because if this was anybody else, and I know, they wouldn't be going to the cops over this. Okay, look, they were lighting up the LSU people. They were lighting up stogies in the locker room. You're not allowed to smoke. Security guard went over and said, "You guys can't do that." Odell got a little crazy, smacked the guy on the butt. Was he wrong? 110%. You got to respect authority. But let's not blow this out of proportion. Now it's emotional damages. Now he felt bullied.
Well, it is Odell.
Okay. But let's just not
Let me
get
go to this
crazy.
one. What would, with your experience as a martial arts ex-champion,
I smacked his butt. But
what would you have done? You wouldn't file charges. You'd probably.
I wouldn't have filed charges.
It'd probably be worse, I would think.
You
him.
got to look at him and say, dude, you being a jerk. Like, cut it out. I mean, but I wouldn't go to the cops and file charges. But, it went out on Instagram. It's turned into a viral thing. I think we're making a little bit more out of this. Yes, I could see where you felt maybe demeaned by it. But,
Okay.
cut the crap. Odell, cut it out.
All right.
Okay?
So, in Odell's case, he's staying with the Browns.
As of now, he's staying with the Browns. Browns
Was his
released a
contract
statement.
up?
No, contract is
So
not up.
Why was there even talk of him not?
There's
being
always
with
talk of him trading, because he's a pain in the neck. I mean, Jarvis Landry was at the game too, and Jarvis Landry, you never hear anything about Jarvis. But their wide receivers coach has been let go.
them? Okay.
So that was part of the reason why Odell was staying. There's a lot going on there.
You
so
never
we'll see.
touched on why he is not a Giant anymore.
Gettleman let him go. We don't know.
No. Okay.
After Gettleman told him, I didn't, just sign a contract to trade him.
Yeah.
So, that's been part of the problem. And Odell says he didn't want to go.
Interesting. Yeah. That's.
So, it's hard for me to say what's really going on there.
And then to go to the Cleveland Browns, that threw me for a loop.
It
coming
did.
from-
I mean, Jarvis
Giants.
Landry is his best friend, the wide receiver. There were some reasons for it, but market-wise, you're going from New York to Cleveland.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a tough one.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
That's a tough one. But, for every coach that's been fired, obviously there's new coaches. Matt Rule from Baylor is taken over to the Panthers. Like I said, Kevin Stefanski is over in the Browns. The Cowboys have Mike McCarthy. We have Joe Judge. The Redskins have Ron Rivera. So everybody's moved on to their respective areas now.
Okay.
And everybody seems to be pretty happy. I mean, we're all in the honeymoon phase right now. Yay, we got our new coaches. Yeah, this is great. We'll see what happens.
Why? What's your prediction?
Matt Rule, there's a lot of owners that are not happy with the amount of money he was given. I mean, he's making, upwards of close to $70 million for a new coach. That's a lot of money.
Well, they have the money.
They've got the money, but that doesn't.
Isn't Eli retiring? What's the verdict on that?
Eli. How would we go to Eli from the Panthers?
Well, his contract with the Giants is up, right?
Well, okay, let's back up a second here. First of all, on the Panthers, let's get rid of that for a second.
Okay.
Matt Rule and the Panthers.
I'm trying to get off the Panthers.
I know,
back
I'm just
onto
letting you
your
know.
blue.
But yeah, we got that. So Matt Rule, a lot of money. Owners aren't very happy because it's the most you'll see for a head coach. So that takes care of that. As for Eli still has not made up his mind.
Okay.
We're still waiting on Eli. I think Eli, hats off to the sunset. But he said he will be making his decision shortly. He may just stay in some capacity.
Oh, really? Okay.
So it might be office consultant. I don't
Do you
know.
think he still has the stuff to be in the game?
This
Make believe
pains
he's
me.
not a Giant.
This pains me. It's time to go, sweetie pie. It's
Okay.
time to go.
All right.
Okay? Take the Bart Starr Award. It's time to go.
How old was Peyton when Peyton actually left? The Colts went to
The Broncos.
Broncos.
But this was after
Had a good season with the Broncos.
Yeah, but Peyton also had extensive neck injury, surgery, and stuff like that. Eli's been an Iron Man. I mean,
Yeah.
if Tony Stark could give him his stuff, he would. I mean, Eli's been like right there with everything, but it's time to go.
Okay.
It's time to go. As for Tom Brady, because you're all thinking it as much as I hate to admit it.
What was it? What was the problem this year?
Well,
They
no, I
started
mean more.
off undefeated, didn't they?
Yes.
So
Who
what
did they
happened?
really play? I mean, come
Okay.
on, it wasn't a big deal. But there's been rumors that he cleaned out his suite at Gillette Stadium.
Okay.
I don't know. To me, it's all a power play. Like maybe he wants it wallpapered in gold. I don't friggin' know. I just don't believe it. I think he's going to stay there. There's talk of him going to Miami. He ain't going to Miami to the Dolphins. Are you absolutely crazy? He ain't going. He's not going anywhere where there's somebody bigger worshipped. So he's not going to Dan Marino's old team. He is not going to, there was talk of him going to the Colts. First of all, Brady, let me explain something. That'd be a dick move on your part to go where Jacoby Brissett is. That ain't cool. Look at me. Not cool. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? Just like Eli would never go to the Colts because there's a statue of your brother there. Why would you do that? That's
Sure,
not nice.
sure.
So, no. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to wind up staying with New England for the right amount of money. Now, does that mean...
And stay with Belichick. Let's
I think,
face
yeah,
it.
there's talk of him going to Las Vegas to open up because of where the Raiders are moving. Could you imagine him and Chuckles together? Gruden would have a stroke on the sideline. There is no way I could see him in chuckles. No. Mm-mm. I just don't. I don't see him going anywhere where he would have to start over with management and have to reestablish himself as the king. I think he likes his kingdom.
I'm inclined to agree with you. After
Maybe I'm
watching
wrong, but I don't think so.
Gronk's retirement and how much fun he's having.
Gronk's having a good time. He's loving life.
And, he's a bigger star than I've ever remembered because now you see him on everything. I could see Brady doing that. I could see him being a
just don't go to
celebrity
Fox.
that way.
Just don't go to Fox. I like their show too much. Please don't go there. Please don't go to the pre-show. I enjoy it. No, I can't. No.
Okay.
That's Strahan's show. Just not that show. No, I can't. I just.
All right. So did we cover everything you wanted to? The coaches.
Let's see. Well, we got Kuechly. Kuechly's big retirement.
Kuechly, yeah.
And I think he's been. I think Kuechly's done it right.
How old is he?
Kuechly is 28. I mean,
Wow.
that's a pretty young age to be doing that.
He has shoulder problems, doesn't he?
Kuechly had 2 shoulder surgeries.
Wow.
I think he already had 2. He's had a lot of concussions. He had one really, really severe one that most people will remember. I think he actually, had to cover his head when he was being taken off with a towel. I mean, that one was pretty severe. I think we may have seen the last of Beast Mode version. I think we're on 3.0 now. I forgot how many times he's come back, but I think we're done. I think Marshawn Lynch is gone. I don't think he's coming back. I think that might have been the end. Antonio Gates has retired. I think that was overshadowed a little bit by Kuechly's young retirement.
Yeah.
Antonio Gates is 39.
Yeah. It's time.
People that wasn't a shock for him to be retiring right now.
Yeah.
But, it was.
He was
still.
16 seasons, wasn't he?
Yeah. 16
Yeah,
seasons, Charger. I mean, he one of the best tight ends there
hang it
is. In the game, I would think next to Tony Gonzalez, and Gronk, just one of the best. So I think he will be a first ballot when the time comes.
Is it normal for a football player to go out before they're 30?
Before they're 30? No, we're seeing a lot more of that
Today
now.
you see that. Yeah, today
You know what? It's no longer the NFL now stands for not for long, but you're seeing more of that gridiron attitude is kind of being chipped away a little bit by scientific research.
Yeah.
It's just we're not seeing them last as long. But overall, this week there's been a lot going on in the NFL aside from the game itself. We had
politics?
more of just, I hate to say it, player antics. I mean, obviously we had OBJ, hitting the security guard, smacking his butt, giving out money at the LSU locker room. Duh. Not his brightest move. And then we've had the deterioration of AB. And we've stayed away from AB a lot when we've talked about it because, there's a lot of toss-up on what was really going on with him.
Yeah.
But this week, he was in trouble again for things aside from football. His agent dropped him conditionally. And if you've been on social media, you've seen what had happened. And I was given the full tape of what happened on social media, which a lot of people have only seen snippets. Everybody by now has seen the bag of dicks being thrown out of his window. So if you're not familiar what happened again with Antonio Brown this week, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of what went down. Basically, his baby mama was supposed to drop the kids off to school. It was her turn. Instead of taking them to school, she drove to his house and then told the Uber, bye-bye. So here's my first question. If it's your turn to drive the kids to school, why would you tell the Uber to leave? They still have to get to school. So you can kind of see where, as much as you might not like AB, and I'm not saying AB ain't a saint. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. You kind of have to get the kids to school, so he's kind of being set up. So when she got there, she said, well, I'll take the Bentley. Well, you're not married. You're not exactly friendly, so problem right there. He says no. She goes into the house, tries to get the keys. Just let me borrow the Bentley. Ladies, my ladies out there, you all know where this is going. She ain't giving back the Bentley when she gets her hands on it. We know. We played this game before. Come on, let's be honest. We've all played this game before. You know she ain't giving back the Bentley. So this turns into a fight. The cops are called. Now the kids still need to get to school. So let's not forget, there are 2 adults in the room. The kids still have to get to school. This is where they're both wrong. Nobody's taking care of the kids. The cops agree with AB and tell the woman, look, you can't take the car. You guys aren't married. Like, you gots to go. He's right. You are trespassing. She has to leave. And the question still remains, if you're supposed to take the kids to school, why did you tell the Uber to go? As she's leaving, there's some words exchanged. AB throws out a bag of gummy dicks. Okay. Their penises. Now, what I will say in this is, nicely done, AB. I'm just going to give you a little credit on that one because that was quick thinking on your part. But they were not directed at the cops. This is where social media has kind of taken its own spin. This was not directed at the cops. They were directed at the woman. Is it disrespectful? Yes, I will give you all of that. These two have a long, complicated, sordid history. Unfortunately, social media has taken it in a different direction. And was AB set up? Look, I've been a child of divorce. I've seen these fights go down. I've seen my mother play this up. I know this game. I am not siding with AB. I'm just saying there's a little more to the story than we're all, getting at. So while everybody's going, oh, this is the deterioration of him, his mental health. His mental health was messed up long before this. This is not the last thing to do this. So his agent has now said, well, now I'm dropping him. You got to go get help. First of all, Drew, let's get a couple things straight. When he was screwing over the Raiders, you weren't all that worried about his mental health. And I would think when his feet were messed up as a wide receiver, you'd be a little more worried about that accident. But you weren't. So I find that a little weird. But once again, okay, you're worried about him. I can't wink. So wink, wink, that's my wink. I got some problems. But okay. What I have a problem with when it comes to AB is everybody either jumps on the bandwagon or jumps off. If you go back to the bad hit this guy sustained in 2016, you look at it when he was laid out. After that, I did some research on when his problems started, his behavioral problems. Everybody's jumping on the CTE thing. Oh, this is CTE. This is totally CTE. Then you've got the naysayers saying, we've never seen a case of CTE develop in a player, when they're alive. Okay, you can't say that. You can't say it because we don't know enough about CTE. We cannot diagnose somebody with it while they're alive because there's no diagnostic test. We haven't developed one. But you can't definitively say, no, this definitely isn't a case of CTE. So we have to walk a very fine line with this. The other problem I have is everybody's jumping on he's having a mental breakdown. Well, unless you're a psychiatrist, you can't say that. And I find it a little too easy of a cop-out because you just want to shove pills down the man's throat and call it a psychotic breakdown. It could be CTE, could be a mental breakdown, or he could just have a case of assholeitis. Could be one of those three things. Let's face it, we don't know. What I'm having issues with is either help him out or don't. Right. But to stop him from being able to do his job, none of this does. His job is to catch a football. Let's be clear. You run a route, you catch a ball with your hands.
So you think they were too harsh on him with that?
I think it's all being blown out of proportion with this.
Okay.
Because sometimes you need structure.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And what you've done is you've let him loose and said nobody wants you, and put judgment on him. I don't think that's really fair.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the judgment was harsh. Because it is his job, it is his livelihood. Mm-hmm. His job is a hard job. He does get hit. He does have to catch that ball.
Right.
So I'm curious why they made an example out of him is really what it comes down to.
I feel, he's been made an example out of. And I think we're also trying him in the court of public opinion. And it can be very easily slanted by snippets of social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we don't know it, but I think we can't blame it all on CTE, but we can't say it's definitely not because we don't know enough about it. So why don't we try helping him? And granted, if he doesn't want the help, hey, look, you don't want the help, you don't want the help. But I think in the sexual allegation, misconduct cases and things like that, I do find it interesting when some of these owners sit there in their castle and say, well, I'm going to tell you what to do and wave their finger. And let's face it, they ain't the cleanest people out there either. And they're deciding it. Yes, there's contracts, and that's for the lawyers to decide if there was misconduct, like in their ethical, clauses and things like that. But instead, if your job is to catch a ball, and that's your job, determine if they can do it. I mean, is he a cancer in the locker room? Look, you got to figure that stuff out. But sometimes the structure is helpful.
Sure.
And I don't know, some of these agents that then say, well, I'm going to let you go until you get help. Well, if you really want to help them, is that...
Get him help.
Yeah, telling him I'm dropping you to then go get you help and doing it now after that social media outburst, I would have thought when his feet were messed up and it was such a mistake is, well, I went in there without foot protection. Wait a minute, your job is your feet. That's like a surgeon deciding, I'm going to go break a cement block with my hands because I take Taekwondo, which was actually on a reality show once. That's kind of a dumb move. So I just don't know. With AB, court's out on how they've handled it. So I just think maybe the court of public opinion is a little harsher on him.
Yeah, in today's times, that will happen.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hands down, that's one
I
of the
think
biggest
with
problems.
OBJ, maybe we're doing, he's definitely doing some dumb crap. But, I look at like somebody like Des Bryant, who I think is a very, very talented whiteout.
Yeah.
I wonder why he hasn't been picked up.
Yeah, what's with that?
So I question that because
Yeah.
I think there's a couple teams that definitely could have used him in the playoffs. Like I look at the Saints, and I think you brought AB in and claimed it was a publicity stunt. But what
Yeah.
about bringing, not that they really needed help in the wideout position, but I understand maybe wanting to have a backup. You had at one point Des Bryant on the roster. So
Yeah,
I think there
what's
was
with that?
others.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That could have been
Do
brought
you
in.
think a lot of this has anything to do with what happened with Aaron Hernandez?
In what
All
way?
these hits that they're taking, all this, what used to call social media emotion, what's out there, causing them to do these things. We talked about it in our last segments. I'm just wondering because after I watched Aaron Hernandez, I saw a troubled youth from high school ball all the way through. It just got exasperated from all the concussions, I believe.
Okay.
What we spoke about.
I think there's two factors in that. Yes, I do think in regards to Aaron Hernandez, after watching it, I do think that the hits definitely exacerbated underlying emotional problems.
Sure.
And understanding what areas of the brains that were affected, including the impulsivity, the violent tendencies, things like that. Yes, I could see it. And after hearing some of the interview, the jailhouse phone calls, especially from the mother and things like
they
that.
were interesting. Very
I could see how there was a factor that plays into it.
Yeah.
Regarding social media, I don't know how each team does it, but I would assume that there's some kind of social media guidelines that are involved, and maybe those should be a little more enforced in some capacity. I know that when I've worked for corporations, I know one that I worked for in particular, in regards to my book, I had a quote put up. Had nothing to do at all political. It was a quote from my book, and it simply said, the problem with a bleeding heart is sometimes it bleeds out. Not political at all. Put it up, clearly said it was a quote from my book. A couple political pundits picked it up in their podcast.
Yeah.
They didn't give me credit. They mentioned it, and they put it up on their Instagram page. I got in trouble because a political pundit picked it up.
Interesting.
And they said that this crossed a line in the social media handbook that I put up something political. And I was like, no, I didn't. My quote was used by... I wound up getting in trouble, and all my pictures were taken down from the corporate site, and I was written up for it. Now, my manager didn't act on it because he understood, and once he saw my post, he said, this has got nothing to do, but I was in trouble for it. So I would imagine these teams have some kind of social media guidelines.
Okay.
Do they need to be, because everybody's using social media to get attention. So I don't know if sometimes these players are one-upping each other because,
You mean like some kneeling and some not?
No, I'm not touching that
Well,
with a
listen,
10-foot
they-
pole, Chris.
they use
I am
social media
not
for
going in
that.
there. I was thinking more to get endorsements and things like that, and just to
Okay.
get the attention and the likes because you want your jersey sales. So, could it be a little things? And I'm making that a little comparison to compare it to some of the things we've discussed, but could it be something like that in social media?
Could very well be. At this moment, before we wrap, Can you talk a little bit about your book, or would you prefer to save that? I know you have the Giants in one of your
In one of my books,
chapters.
even my Giants get a little mention in one of my books, even though it's a fantasy novel. The Giants even come up a little bit.
Where's
in there,
the book
but
at this stage?
The book book one just came out, a final edit, and I'm not allowed to touch it anymore, as I've been told many
Okay.
times now. I'm no longer allowed to touch it, so I will not touch it anymore, I promise. But
Okay,
the book
good.
is out. It's out of editing, and we are in book cover design right now. So I'm very close
Tell
to
the viewers
finishing.
what to expect.
It's a fantasy novel with mythic and epic sweeping themes, and you'll get to hear all about it, and you get to see where dragons come from.
Great.
And I take you from the beginning of time right up to England, 1540 England, and you get to see Queen Mary in all her glory and how fairies played into
You're
that.
definitely multifaceted.
I'm not boring. I got it.
All right,
no
I think we
problem.
covered enough this week.
Well, who
good?
do you think's gonna win? Let's go back
please
because
don't
I
put me
now
on
we
the
have
spot.
Carlos gave
Please.
his predictions. I gave mine. Who do you think's gonna win?
You know what? I have to go with the 49ers.
All right, you got the
on this.
49ers.
And it's because of my daughter. She's got me heavily into watching,
Okay.
and she's got all the stats on it. And I said, oh, you know what? I think
Okay, so
the
none of us
quarterback-
believe in Aaron
quarterback
Rodgers.
does look good. I do think it's Aaron Rodgers' time. It would be nice to see him go all the way.
But you don't think so because we're saying
I
the
don't think so.
49ers.
No, I
All
don't
right,
think
so
so.
what about Mahomes and Tannehill?
Mahomes is definitely
So we're
he's
thinking
got it.
KC and the 49ers. That's
Mahomes
what you
has
think.
it locked. He knows what to do.
All right, now, so that means my dog Carlos is the only one willing to say
Carlos.
Titans.
Carlos.
So that means
Listen,
if he
the-
wins, we got to bring Carlos on next time. And he's
yeah,
got to
you
get his
could-
moment.
You could put him right up here.
All right.
Listen, the Titans surprised me.
The Titans surprised me too.
No two ways about it. No
Titans
two
surprised me too. All right, then Carlos,
ways. All right. So,
you just might be starring next week. You might have your own little podcast, and you might prove us all wrong.
all
We'll
right.
see.
On behalf of the See You at 6 Network, Absolute Motion, Mike, thank you for all your work with the production supervision. Denise Apostle, makeup artist and hair. And, of course, our sponsor, Chef Del Bazo, Chef Rob, who will be on, I believe, next week. He's coming aboard, and it'll be an interesting duel. We'll see
see.
how that goes. Everybody have a great day. Thank you for joining us.